Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of You Are the Guide. New week, new Monday, new episode. And this is a very, very special episode for me because today I am celebrating 1 year of being sober and not drinking alcohol. I know that it was at the beginning of the year. I think there was another episode where I talked a little bit about this. And this is a huge milestone for me that I wanted to make a whole episode sharing with you my journey, how it has been going, the difficulties, the good things, and just kind of the progress. And especially for those of you that may be considering not drinking alcohol anymore, this can provide you a little bit of perspective. Or it could also offer perspective for other habits that you may want to create a change with. So let's get started. And that is why I'm wearing my sparkly celebration shirt if you're watching the video. So it's been a year. I want to share some of the background around my journey with drinking first. Now, I've shared before how drinking is a very normal part of my culture. I am originally from Mexico City, and it doesn't mean that all Mexicans necessarily drink. What it means is that my family, everybody drinks, and it's normal. It's something that has been normalized in my family since I was very young. Both of my parents still drink, and they're in their, well, my mom is in her 70s, not necessarily a lot, not necessarily every day, but it is a normal thing to have a drink once in a while. So I grew up watching that and just seeing it. And as soon as I became a teenager and I was able to try alcohol, I did. And I never necessarily saw it as a problem outside of the fact that now looking back, I'm realizing that it was too normalized. To me now, it's not normal, but it was normal back then. Um, and now it kind of blows my mind just to think about it. But why I wanted to quit drinking is because I think it was probably in my early 30s and right now I'm about to turn 40 to give perspective, where I started feeling that after I would go out and drink or have a few drinks on the weekend, the level of a hangover that I would get would make me really sick. Like ill, like I would shake, like I would feel like I was going to die. And I know many people feel this, and we also normalize people feeling like they're almost going to die and possibly could die as if it is nothing, but it just didn't feel right for me. This is also at a time where I started jumping more into my spiritual journey. So it was very confusing for me because I was becoming probably the most attuned with my spirituality, but I was still really enjoying being human and celebrating having fun with friends and having drinks. And then the next day you wake up feeling very, very sick. You don't feel well. You're like swollen. You have a headache. You're nauseous. And you're like, well, it's fine. Then that would go away. By the time the weekend comes back again, I would just repeat it again. I know this is something many people experience, but something in me, in my soul, I really believe this was like a spiritual thing for me, told me that I should quit. So it was 10 years of me trying to quit by first just saying, okay, it's not realistic for me to quit completely. Why would I say that? Because I had normalized it so much. I drink, my family drinks, my friend drinks. That's all I see on TV, on ads. So it was more normal to drink than not to drink. So not drinking was not a full option. It was more like, let me control it. Let me cut back. What can I do to prevent my hangover to be like not super bad? You know what I mean? Like it could be a little bad, but not super bad. And then I did that for a few years. It would not really always work. And then when I would really get motivated, or it was the beginning of a year, a new year, I would say, okay, I'm not going to drink for the whole month of October or the whole month of January. And I would do it. And guess what would happen? I would feel amazing. I would have more energy. I would really feel more like myself. But then life would happen. People are inviting you out. Everybody knows that you're just not drinking for 30 days. Everybody keeps, in my world that I lived in, everything was around alcohol. So then I would go back. This was back and forth, back and forth. Now, closer to my later 30s, I wasn't going out that much. I would still sometimes go out and drink, but it was more like I want to have a glass of wine after work. So now I'm drinking alcohol every day, but it's just a little bit. You just a glass or two of wine. Or I just want to have a beer or two with dinner. It's not that big of a deal. Or if we go out, I want to have a few mixed drinks. And that was the new normal. Always like tied together with the hangover the next day, not feeling well, and feeling that it would take my body so long to get back to feeling okay. So I would drink one day, and what would take maybe a 1 day hangover started to become a 2 day hangover, a 3 day hangover. Now I'm learning that those are signs of your body, that your body's struggling to process the intoxication, like the toxicity you're putting in it. Yes, it's also because of age and all these things, but it's truly your body telling you, hey, I can't do it like I used to. But I would not listen because, once again, the normal thing for me was to drink. But I kept hearing that voice like, I want to quit. I imagine what my life would be without drinking. Now, I've had close people in my life, family members very close to me, that decided to quit for a few years. Not only a year or two, but like a few, 4 or 5 years, and then eventually decided to go back to drinking. So at this point, it was a little bit more of a knowledge to me that it is possible to quit, but it was always like everybody drinks and there's this one person that quit. Um, and then last year, I had a experience which I'm not proud of. I like to share it because it's true and it happened, where I went out, I had some drinks. I've told this story before. I came back home when my door had like a hard time opening. Like you kind of had to shake the key and the knob for it to open. And then there were a few steps to my door, my doorway, to enter my house. So you're on the steps and you're shaking the key. But after I had a few drinks and I did that, the key got stuck. And when I pulled it back, I fell back, like straight back, and I hit my head and I passed out. And I was drunk and I was alone. And I stayed there until I woke up, and I was feeling bad. I was feeling drunk. I was feeling in shock, and I wasn't sure what had happened. And I went to sleep that night like that. And many people tell me that I am lucky that I didn't die or I didn't have a concussion or something even worse. I woke up feeling horrible. My neck hurt. I started to get worried. And then I went to the hospital. And at the hospital, it was even like humiliating experience because I just kind of said what happened. And they were like, they did everything that you can imagine. And they're like, no, you're fine. But it was almost like they're looking at me like, get your act together. And I was feeling so ashamed because at this point, I mean, I'm already like 38, getting closer to 40. I'm not partying every night. I'm not taking like shots or doing anything crazy. But even with the way I was drinking, that happened. Like it made me realize I don't want this. And that was like a big like moment of like, okay, something needs to change. And then, but did I quit right away? No, because I've been doing this for way too long and it wasn't that simple. I quit for a month. After that day that I fell, I quit drinking for a month. I started to feel amazing, sleeping the best that I've ever slept. I started to get back into my exercise routine. I started to feel better. But then after the 30 days, I went back. But this time I said to myself, I'm going to control it more. I'll only drink certain types of alcohol. And it wasn't the case. It continued to become something that I did after work. Let's have a glass of wine, or we're going to the movies. Let me order myself a beer. There's those movie theaters where you can have craft beer. It's like just a beer. And I loved old fashioned. So if I would go out and meet with a friend, I would have an old fashioned. Um, and I started feeling bad again. And I started to read a book, and the name of the book, I always forget it, and I forgot to put it here. So the books, there was two of them. One of them was the Naked Mind. So the Naked Mind is by Annie Grace. That book takes you into a journey of understanding alcohol for what it is, the way it affects you, the way we've all been kind of manipulated to believe that it's normal and that we need it. And that book changed my perspective around alcohol to the point where I started feeling I don't want it. Like I started to disconnect from the normalizing it kind of thing. My mind started to change in the way that I viewed it. And I got motivated to say, okay, I really want to quit. The other book is by Alan Carr, and this one is The Easy Way to Quit Drinking. Or and then Alan Carr, I don't know what it is, but they changed the names of a lot of their books, or they have the same book in like so many different versions. So there's another one, The Illustrated Easy Way to Stop Drinking. So, anyways, with Alan Carr. And that book really helped me as well. And the great thing about both of these books is like when you start reading it, it tells you right away, while you're reading this book, do not quit drinking. Keep drinking the whole time until you finish this book, because the point of the book is to get you to perceive in a more realistic way what alcohol is and the way it affects you. And then make the decision if you don't want to have it or not on your own. It's not a book that's trying to convince you not to have it. It's a book that's kind of painting to you the reality of alcohol. And after you finish, and maybe in a way, they're doing a little bit of like, um, what do you call it? Like, psychology, right? They're like, you don't have to quit. And then suddenly we're like, well, actually, I want to, but it works. And after reading both of those books, I really started feeling I want to do this. And then I was reading an article where somebody was explaining about the health of your liver. And I started to realize I don't know how the how can I explain it? I don't know the best optimal quality of my liver as an adult, because I've been drinking all of my adult life. The only period before now that I didn't drink is when I was pregnant. So I had never even gone a year without drinking. Well, actually, I did. I did because I didn't drink when I was pregnant, and I didn't drink when I was breastfeeding. So it was a little bit over a year, but it was not a motivated, like just for me and my health. It was obviously for my baby and my body to be able to have a good pregnancy. So this one felt very different because it was just for me. Like there's no other reason. Nobody's making me. I'm not necessarily sick. Nothing's wrong. I just want to do it for me. But I said, I want to know how I feel in every single way when my liver is not under stress every single week or every single month. So I was reading a lot of knowledge around that and how it really takes time for your liver to continue to detox and do what it needs to do after a long period of time of changes with your diet or your habits. So I said, I want to do an experiment. I want to go 1 year without drinking and see how I feel and make it out of my own experience, not because this book is telling me, like, is it better for me to not drink or to drink? And that year is today. And just breaking news, my goal and my plan is to continue to go without drinking, because there's been so many positive things that I've experienced. And I made a list of things that I want to share with you. And I separated the list in different categories. So I can share with you different things. And then I even, hold on, I'm fighting with this cable. Okay, there we go. And then I even asked my partner to tell me the changes that she has seen in me, because it's different what you experience and what others see in you. So I'm going to share all of that. Um, so let's start with how I feel. 1 year without drinking alcohol, and these are just how I feel. I feel as if I have more energy. Um, I overall, just as a person, feel more confident. I feel more confident in my body. I feel more confident in my career. I feel more confident with the decisions that I make every day. So, yeah, I feel that my mind is so much more clear. So I'm able to make better decisions for me. I feel more like myself. And this one was a big one for me because if you've been listening to the podcast, I've shared in previous episodes that this last few years, like I went through an identity rediscovery crisis, whatever you want to call it. But my old identity was gone. I was living through everyday experiences, building my new way of being, and I didn't want alcohol and other substances to get in the way. So now I started to feel, okay, this is who I like to be and who I am. I also feel like I sleep better. And there's other benefits that are more factual, that instead of how I feel, some of the facts of things that happened is that I lost 40 pounds. So this is where benefits, right? I think I should have read this list before the other one. But these are some facts of things that just happened. I lost 40 pounds when I quit drinking. And this was so interesting for me because I had been trying so many different things to lose weight. I was even trying medication to lose weight. And even with medication, I wasn't losing weight and I didn't know why. And interestingly enough, I feel that I was just perpetually, um, what do you call it? Um, what's the word? Oh my God, hold on. Inflamed. Like I just had so much inflammation because I feel that I kept drinking, drinking, drinking. I was perpetually dehydrated. I was perpetually just not well. And my body didn't ever have enough time to really heal and get better before I would drink again. So, besides everything else that the liver has to do, but um, that was amazing. And I started to lose the weight gradually, and before I knew it, I was even in shock at how much different my body was. So that was one big one for my body. It ties together with the I started to sleep better because now, like, there was no hangover. My anxiety levels became super low or very low. The only other factor I feel right now that I've been experiencing anxiety for is caffeine, which that's a whole other story that we're going to get into at the end. Um, but that helped me so much. My mental health improved like 80%, 90%. Before that, I was kind of like in a dark place because of the change with my identity, with letting go of an old partnership, with just so many things that had happened. It was a little difficult. And so it was a little difficult for me. And it was so interesting that the moment that I removed the alcohol from the picture, a lot of those emotional reactions started to subside, and it gave me so much perspective because I did have a lot of triggers in the past in a lot of my relationships, and I always wonder how different would things have could have been if alcohol was not a factor in the story. Overall, I became so much more productive. I think this year is the year that I've accomplished probably in a long, long time, the more things that I'm happy about. Not only did I start and continue my podcast, not only do I love my job, I do work full time and I love my job so much. I've been able to create a lot of consistency in the things that I do, things around the house and staying organized. I like more working out, moving my body is something that I do every day. Like it's not even, it was something that I struggled for so long that I would be like, I'll force myself to try to work out 2 times this week, 3 times this week. I hope I make it. Now I'm just an active person. If I'm not working out, like doing a workout, I'm getting outside, I'm walking, I'm going on adventures. A lot of that is also because of my girlfriend, but she loves adventures. So we do a lot of things together. She's a great support when it comes to that. But I think another reason why I want to participate and do all those things is because I'm not hangover and I have energy and I feel good in my body. So that was another one. Um, and another one that is connected to the drinking, but I think it's also connected to the mental health getting better and getting like my life together is that I started to save money. I started to be a little bit smarter when it came to my money. And it is, yeah, partly because I'm not spending money on alcohol, but not only that, I think it's mainly because I also feel good within myself that I could now give energy to other areas of my life. So those are some of kind of like the factual things that just happened. And then I want to share with you what are some of the things that helped me make it through a year. What were the struggles? So I haven't had too many struggles, I will say. And I think the reason why is because I didn't quit drinking from a difficult or negative mentality of like, oh, I have to quit, something's wrong, I'm so bad for drinking so much. No, I became motivated with the information in the books that I read. And pretty much after you read those books, you learn to see alcohol as a random liquid that makes you sick, that the next day it makes you sick. You start learning that the good, like good feeling that alcohol gives you is just the first few drinks when you're tipsy. The tipsy part feels like kind of good. The when you're drunk part, you're actually not fully there to never even remember, but it's not doing anything for you. You actually are searching for the next drink. That's why you keep drinking in hopes that you'll feel what you felt at the beginning. And it literally poisons your body. So when I changed the way I perceived alcohol, I don't sit here and go like, "Ooh, I miss it." Because and then you could go like, "Oh, but I miss how I used to feel and how I was social and how." But now I'm like, "But I have energy and I feel so confident." So it's hard to miss it too much because there's so many pluses, and the pluses that it was giving me, these new pluses are like surpassing those, and it's just the mindset. It was a game changer, and that's why I tell people reading books, like those types of books can really help. So that part wasn't a battle, and I want to acknowledge this is my story. I know this is not the case for everybody. I know that some people can read those books and still have a hard time doing it. I feel that there's so many factors, so this does not mean I'm saying this is everybody's story. I'm just sharing mine and how I could get to this place now. Because in the past, I did try to quit and it was a struggle, and I could only go for 30 days. Like I did that for 10 years. So I understand that part of the journey. Is just this time, I guess I was ready and it was different. Um, Another thing that really helped me is that I got rid of alcohol. Like there's no alcohol at my house. There's no option for me to have a drink. I don't have alcohol in my house. I don't want to have alcohol in my house. Another thing that helped me is that I told my friends, my family, and everybody on the internet that I was quitting. So everybody was very supportive. I have a lot of friends that drink, if not everybody. My family still drinks, and because I made the decision, I'm okay being with them while they're drinking and I'm not. Um, and it's just a non issue. And I've even had like my friends at the beginning ask me if I was comfortable with them drinking or if like, we wanted to do something different. And I was like, no, it's totally okay. And we just normalized it. And it's just a non conversation because if I go, which is my next thing, I may take some mocktails. I even started exploring different non alcoholic beers. Sometimes it is like a summer day and you just want a cold beer, and I know everybody's gonna be like, it tastes horrible. Why would you want it without the alcohol? I don't know. But sometimes I do crave it and I go visit my friends or we get together and I have a non-alcoholic beer. We've gone to pubs, and at least every pub that I've been to has at least one non-alcoholic beer. And that's what I'm drinking. And it's a non-issue. I don't even know how to explain it because I'm at peace with it. I'm not sitting there fighting it. I've also explored like different type of hemp and CBD drinks that or the adaptogens, I think that's how you say it, like drinks that have a little bit of like supplements that it's very slightly in how they change how you feel. I've never had one that like fully changes how you feel, but it's fun because you can have something like special when you're with other people that are still choosing to drink. And know that when I'm with people that drink, I'm not judging them like, ooh, you're still drinking. Just don't think about it. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I'm drinking this, you're drinking that. Let's have fun and like be together. Like, that's all I'm thinking about. So those were the main things that helped me. Um, so yes. Now, could I add anything else? Would I have wished to do anything different? Actually, no. There's nothing that comes to mind that I regret in the way that I did in my journey. I think I just did my best. I'm not saying this is the optimal and best way to quit drinking. It's just the way that worked out for me. And I will say I gradually started exploring different things and like drinks, like mocktails. And at the beginning of the journey, I would try different ones more because I think I was still used to always drinking something. But I still have them every once in a while. Now, I want to read to you verbatim the list that my partner, my girlfriend, said when I asked her. We were driving yesterday and I just asked her, what are the benefits that you have noticed since I quit drinking? And I wrote everything verbatim. So this is how she said it. She said, "You're calmer, like I feel more calm, I guess. Your bubbly personality comes out more on a day-to-day basis, but you're still but still not as much in a social setting, which is true. I think when I was drinking, I was more social, I'm sorry, more outgoing when I would go out with people, and now I'm more like quiet." But just feel like I'm more myself. The next thing is you can do something fun and not think about alcohol. And then she added to this one. She meant that before, when we would plan events, it would be like, I don't know, like there's going to be this event, let's say at a farmer's market, or there's this brewery that's going to have a summer thing. I would always choose the option that had alcohol. So a lot of the social things we would do, I would try to revolve them around alcohol. If there were options of non-alcohol activities and alcohol activities, I would go with the alcohol. And now she says that I'm more fun in general because it doesn't matter what if there's alcohol or not. We just do what we want to do. You've been way more active. You don't mind trying new things, and I think it goes back to the alcohol activities. Like before, I wanted to still go out to a bar, go out to a pub, go out to a concert where they drink alcohol, and now I'm more like, let's go to nature, let's go to like, I don't know, like different activities. And then she said, "I feel like you sleep a lot better and you wake up not groggy." So yes, I would agree with this. I think before it was just hard to wake up for me, especially if I had a drink the night before. And when I was normalizing having wine every night after work, then it meant that every single morning I was just not feeling that well. Your skin has cleaned up, and you don't look as swollen from the face. Verbatim how she said it. um, you don't have as many emotional outbursts. You can emotionally regulate yourself better. Very, very true. I feel that, insert my daughter's name, that my daughter has more faith and confidence in me, which is very true because my daughter now is a teenager. So she saw me going from mom drinks wine, mom has beers, to mom doesn't drink, and she's witnessed that journey. And I feel that in a very unspoken way, she just feels mom is always there, no matter what, because she's not drunk or drinking or something. Not like I was drunk every day. I know it sounds like that, but it's just, even when people have one or two glasses of wine, you're not fully there as you think you are. Um, the next one is you don't want to go out as often. Very true. Before, at least even once a month, I really wanted to do something once again social, like at a something that had to do with like alcohol, but go out. And now I just don't care about it at all, at all, at all. And you feel more grounded. Sometimes I feel when you would drink, even if it was just a little bit during the week, you seemed very irrational. Now you're more grounded. I didn't fully understand the irrational part, but probably I was just more like, like on the edge. I wasn't feeling well, like I wasn't fully present. But that is her list from me. And then she asked me at the end that felt, if I was surprised by any of those things, and the answer was no. I agree with all of those. And pretty much that has been it. And I wanted to share this video. I think I wanted to in part document it for my own self. But I also want to put it here because I hope that if you're watching this, you know that whatever change you want to create in your life, it is possible. Many of you know that what I do for work is that I help people. I am a health coach and I help people quit smoking. That is what I do. Every single day, I talk to people and I help them quit the habit of smoking, which is profoundly difficult. It's a profound, how can I call it? It's a habit that profoundly affects people's health. So when you're talking to a lot of people that want to quit smoking, you're seeing people at the deepest of their vulnerability. and willing to challenge themselves. And caffeine is a difficult drug to quit. If you've been down that journey, you know. My job was also a motivator. So let me add it there because I see so many people be able, I see so many people change every day, every single day. I knew that it was possible for me, even though it was a different substance. And now I want to say that to you. I know it is possible that you can change whatever it is. Maybe for you is not alcohol. Maybe for you is not nicotine or caffeine. Maybe for you it's that you want to move your body more. It's that you want to get better with whatever. Just know that you can. But as you learn in what I did here, it's a journey. Your journey is going to look very different than anybody else's. My journey to quit drinking took over 10 years. Right now, you may be like, oh, wow, it sounds like you just decided, read a few books, and then bought some mocktails and everything's fine. That's the part when I told you that I started to take action. But for 10 years, I would try and I could only go 30 days. And then I made a whole excuse in my mind of why it was like more normal to quit, to keep drinking. Um, so honor your journey, but just know that it is possible to change. And then at the end of the day, it's going to be like a holistic or like a well rounded approach where I encourage you to read books from experts. This, me, I believe that I can share my experience, but I cannot tell you I'm an expert on quitting alcohol. So read the books from the experts. Like, let's learn from them. Um, and slowly start taking action. It will feel scary. It will feel vulnerable. It will make your identity shift, and it is well worth it if it is something that you want for yourself. And I hope if this video, like I always say, serves to motivate one person, if you feel on the edge, to do it. Which leads me to the next thing. Today, I'm starting a new journey. And today, I'm starting a journey where I'm quitting caffeine. And this is not a whole podcast for this because I'm about to film a next one, another one for you for next week about this topic. But just know that even though I'm celebrating one little milestone, it's only 1 year of not drinking. I want to know what my liver, my life, me, who am I after 2 years, 5 years, 10 years of no alcohol? I'm curious. But now I'm also curious of who I am without caffeine, and this one actually makes me more vulnerable. So if you're interested in learning more about that journey and kind of coming along with me for this next year, stay tuned for next week's episode. And I will say, I'm starting something new. I feel scared. I feel emotional right now. Like I could cry. I kind of don't want to do it. I kind of want to keep drinking caffeine. I want to tell myself everybody drinks it. It's like a social joke to say that we're addicted to coffee. It's a socially funny to say like I don't function until I have my coffee, and we all laugh. There's a coffee shop like every direction that I walk when I leave my house. So it makes me so emotional because I've learned that I use caffeine to run from myself. I use caffeine to be stimulated, but not to fully be at peace and be me. And I want to figure out now who I am without it. And I also want to see what my body does without it. How will my nervous system improve? How will my anxiety improve? And how will my adrenals function better? My bladder, all the parts of the body that through the years of abuse of any substance start having little symptoms. I want to see what happens. So today we begin a new journey. I hope you join me next week for the next episode where I'm going to talk more about why I'm choosing to quit caffeine. And with that said, I hope this episode was helpful. Thank you for watching. Thank you for celebrating this with me because you watching this means that in a way, this had a purpose. And that to me is a form of celebration. And if you enjoy in any way this content that I am making, I want to ask you to subscribe or to the podcast or to the YouTube channel. I'm still just a little like person that creates content. I don't have that many followers, but I'm committed to continue to like put something out there every week. So with that said, thank you for listening, and I hope all of you have a wonderful, wonderful day. See you soon.